Welcome back everybody to Gentle Dorks, and it's been a long time since I've done a longer video. I've been focusing more on the shorts because of things that have just happened in my life, things have been up and down, so I thought stick with the shorts, get the content out there, keep the channel rolling until you can get a new video. And I thought, since it's spooky season and I've done my ranking of the Halloween movies, I thought, what is the next best thing that I could do at Halloween without it being about Halloween? And I thought to myself, it has to be A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because on the back of my last short, where I was talking about my top 5 greatest horror movie killers, and it was Freddy Krueger, obviously, for me, obviously. And I thought, let's do my top 10 Freddy Kruegers. Now, because there was only 9 movies, including the reboot, I thought, I'm just going to go out there and add in the series. Because as much as it wasn't really about Freddy Krueger, there was some stuff where he was involved, and so I'm putting it through on a technicality. So let's just jump right into it. And at number 10, we have Freddy's Revenge. Now, I definitely think this was the weakest movie of the franchise. It's not a bad movie, but there was a lot of changes from the first movie that took a lot of people out, and they thought, this is a completely different movie. It didn't hit right with a lot of the fans who were really wanting a proper sequel to the original. Like I say, it's not a bad movie, but with studio interference saying they want this and that because this is what was happening at the time, and they put it in, and just it didn't sit well with the fans, and that's why I have it at number 10. And at number 9 is The Dream Child. Now, this was the 5th movie in the franchise. They had ups and downs up until this point, and this one was, again, it wasn't a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but just not enjoyed it as much as the other movies, which I thought were a lot stronger. Now, the concept of this one was a lot more interesting than some of the other ones, where Freddy's getting in to her dreams through the unborn child, which is his way of saying that I can get to you no matter what you do. I'm unstoppable. And that's a good message to have for Freddy Krueger, because no matter what you do, he's still going to be there. You can't get rid of him at the end of the day. But again, it wasn't as enjoyable as the other movies, which is why it's at number 9. And at number 8 is the TV show Freddy's Nightmares. Now, as I say, not all of the episodes were about Freddy Krueger. There was very few about him. But the first one goes into the court case about Freddy Krueger. And I thought that was an interesting concept about doing a prequel of sort about how he became this horrible, demonic, hellish creature in people's dreams. And I liked that story, and I thought that could have been a good movie if they'd done it that way. But the series was good. It was a bit like Tales of the Crypt, where they're telling different stories about horror genre things, and Freddy Krueger as the host was just fantastic. The skits that they made him do were hilarious, and Robert Englund is a fantastic actor who had such comedic timing in these horror movies, and sometimes it was a bit off, but I think that helped because of the type of character that Freddy Krueger is, and Robert Englund played him fantastically, and that's why I've got this at number 8, because it's technically not Freddy Krueger, but it is, and it's not the worst content of Freddy Krueger. And at number 7 we have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Now, I remember when this came out in 1994, I was 11 years old, and I snuck into the cinema to see this, and I loved it. I loved the fact that it was telling a story about the actual characters from the first movie. I loved the meta concept of it. At the time I just thought, this is a great Freddy Krueger movie. The fact that they changed his makeup a bit and made him a bit more real world, because they'd sort of changed the story because it was a different universe as such, because these were the actors making a story about this, and they go into how he was a sleep demon, and that's how Wes Craven got the idea to do the movies. And then them slipping back into their characters and the whole concept of that, I thought that was really well done. And at number 6 we have Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Now, it was the final nightmare for 3 years, but this essentially ended the franchise. They went a lot darker with this movie and tried to give Freddy a darker origin, even though we all knew the origin. It was an okay movie. It was more enjoyable than the ones that have come before it, because with the darker tone and them really pushing the horror rather than the comedy stuff that had been seen in some of the other movies, I thought that was the way to go. And with this one also, they had the 3D effects with the red and blue 3D glasses, if anybody remembers them. But the visuals were stunning, they were fantastic, and the reason I've got so high on the list is because of the sheer nostalgia factor of the 3D glasses. I remember getting it on video, because I'm that old, getting the glasses to watch it, and I thought, this is amazing, this is great. And because of the sheer nostalgia, that's why it's so high on the list. Now we get to the top 5, and in at number 5, a lot of people might find this controversial, because I have the 2010 reboot of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, it gets a lot of hate, unnecessary hate, because they were trying to do something new. At this time, they were doing a lot of reboots about a lot of different franchises. The year before, you had Friday the 13th, and they decided, let's go with this. Let's do A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it was a lot darker than any of the other movies. It was a lot grittier, a lot grungier, and we didn't have Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. We had Jackie Haley, who had just come off of Watchmen, and I thought he played Freddy Krueger fantastically. Was he as good as Robert Englund? That's a matter of perspective. He played Freddy Krueger fantastically in this movie. Could Robert Englund have done what Jackie done in this movie? I don't think so, because their styles are completely different. Now, I enjoyed the movie, and I think more people should give it a go instead of just saying it's not the originals, it's just another reboot. Yeah, it is, it's another reboot, but give it a chance. Sit down, watch it as its own movie, not as a reboot. Watch it as a horror movie to enjoy. And if you do that, you'll see that the movie is actually really good. It's dark, it's gritty, and the story really is true to the originals. It takes the original story and it modernises it, and I think that's why I've had to put it in my top 5, despite a lot of people saying that that shouldn't even be on the list, because it's not really a Nightmare on Elm Street. It is, it's just its own version. So give it a go. In at number 4 we have Freddy vs Jason. Now, I loved this movie. I thought it was long overdue, considering both the franchises had started decades before, and then we had to wait till 2003 to see a Freddy vs Jason movie. But it was fantastic. It's one of the greatest crossover movies of characters that I've seen, and to this day I love it. It's fantastic. But like I said, I love the movie, it's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you really need to go and watch it. It has one of the greatest lines by Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. I'm not going to spoil it, watch it and you'll know what the line is. And at number 3 we have The Dream Masters. Now this was the 4th movie, and it was coming off the success of Dream Warriors. Really, Dream Warriors and Dream Masters are one long movie split into 2, and that was really the first time where they really connected the movies together. Obviously the Dream Child continues on from Dream Master in a way, but this is just a complete continuation, and I've put this at number 3 because of its connection to Dream Warriors, and it's so much better than all the other movies because it really goes into the protagonists coming into themselves in the dream world and figuring out ways to outdo Freddy Krueger, and that's why it's at number 3. And at number 2 is the Dream Warriors, because like I said, it's one long movie. You can't talk about one without talking about the other, really. And with Dream Warriors you have Nancy coming back, and it's like she is the original person that took Freddy down, and because of that I've had to put it at number 2, because when you've got the original protagonist going up against the original antagonist in a later movie, it's what people want to see. It's like, this was the original story and you're seeing it later. It's great because it's the nostalgia factor, but they were fantastic, and that's why I've got them at 2 and 3, because you can't have one without the other. But now we get to number 1, and it has to be the original, because I wouldn't have this list if we didn't have Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, it's a fantastic movie, it's a fantastic franchise. Like I said, it's had its ups, it's had its downs, but overall it is a great franchise. I know I haven't rated them because I don't want to do any of them a disservice, because I did enjoy all of the movies. I wouldn't rate any of them lower than a 3.5, so they're all between 3.5 and 5. So I haven't rated them for that reason. But I will say, if you've missed out on this franchise, if you haven't seen any of them, look them out, find them somewhere and watch them. Especially if you're a horror fan and you haven't seen them, so where have you been? But what are your thoughts? Do you agree with the order I've done? What would your order be? Let me know. And on that note, as always, love yous and leave yous. See ya.